everyone, my name is Courtney. I write under the pen names Lyra Parish, and I'm one half of the USA Today best-selling duo Kennedy Fox. Today I'm making a video that is a Q&A, which came from my Instagram and Facebook, basically. So I thought that it would be fun to kind of answer your questions that you have in this video format. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I have my cell phone here. If you see me looking down at that, that's because I am reading the question. So we're just gonna start right from the beginning. The first question is, when did you publish your first book? I published my first romance novel in January of 2014, and I just celebrated my 4-year publiversary. Second question is, do you have any advice for future writers? Yes, I actually have a lot to say. I could probably make this a 10-minute video, but the number one thing that I will say is, if you want to be a writer, or if you've always wanted to be a published author, you have to try. We all write one word at a time, just like, you know, super famous people put their pants on one leg at a time. Super famous authors, J.K. Rowling, Stephen King, they all write their stories one word at a time. Yes, your book may be crap. The very first thing you write may suck. You may get horrible reviews, but with practice, you will get better as an author. So you have to try. What got me started with writing was doing NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, in November of 2011 was the first time that I did it. And I actually wrote the 50,000 words. And from that point on, I knew that I could write a book. There was a lot of things wrong with that story. There are so many things wrong with that story. I could probably do an entire video on what you shouldn't do for NaNoWriMo, but it gave me the confidence that I needed to know that I could do this and that I actually enjoyed doing it. I would totally recommend that to any of you out there who want to write a book, who have never done it before, who need some sort of hard deadline. There's a whole community that is surrounded around NaNoWriMo, and it's just a really, really fun time. Side note, in July is Camp NaNoWriMo, so there's a lot of people who are writing right now at this very moment trying to get their 50,000 words this month, but it's almost over, so you should definitely pencil down November. It's a really fun time. I highly recommend it, especially for newbies. The next question is, what is your love story? There's parentheses that says, hope this is okay to ask. It's totally fine. But whenever I was in college, the first time that I ever saw my now husband, I looked at my friend and said, that guy is gonna be my boyfriend. And here we are, 16 years later, married, happily married, in love. It's my own little fairy tale, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And it's just been a really great time, and I don't really have too many love stories other than me and my husband. We were like love at first sight, been together ever since. We've basically known each other. Pretty soon we will have been together longer than we have not been together. So do the math there. I'm kinda old. Next question. What is your favorite part about being an author? I love the process. I love plotting and thinking of new characters. I love just everything about the process when it comes to cover design and, man, just plotting and then getting to the end of a book. It's the absolute best feeling in the world. I would also add another thing that I love about being an author is getting to meet all these people who read our books or just read my books. Like, it's such a crazy experience to have somebody come up to you and be like, hey, I read that book and I really enjoyed it and I can't wait for you to release more. Like, every time it happens, I'm pretty much in disbelief, because being an author is a very solitary type of job. You are in your head, you're on your computer all the time. And so for someone to actually read your book and to get it the way that you wanted it to be received is just one of the best feelings in the entire world. The next question is, what is your go-to Starbucks drink? Guys, I'm so basic. I am so basic. Like, you don't even know. My number one go-to Starbucks drink, which, what time is it? Because I kind of want one right now, is a venti iced caramel macchiato, no ice, no room, with an extra shot of espresso. Yeah, it's so good. And a lot of people are like, why don't you get ice? Because I don't want it to water out. I want my coffee drink filled to the very top. I do not want ice in it. I have been known to be a Starbucks waster. So when I started to not get ice in it, I can drink half of it, stick it in the fridge, and drink the rest of it later. Like, To me, it's the best thing in the world. Before I started getting iced drinks without ice, I was a huge white chocolate mocha drinker, and I also love pumpkin spice lattes with almond milk. That's my favorite. Like, that's my holiday drink. There's another one too, the gingerbread. There's a gingerbread coffee drink that Starbucks has during Christmas that comes in the red cup, and I really enjoy that one too. Also, if I'm being super basic, you can never go wrong with a nice pink drink. The graduated bookworm also asks when she'll get to see my lovely face again. Well, I can tell you that I will be in Rhode Island for the Providence signing. That is the first weekend of October this year, and I will also be at Holidays with the Bells next year in Dallas on February 9th, 2019, and I will be at a Polycon in 2019, which is March, in Washington, D.C., and I will also be at Black and Gold author event that is in Philly. Is it in Philadelphia? What's that other big city in Pennsylvania? Yes, it's in Pittsburgh. That's where the signing is. So next year we're doing 3 signings. This year in 2018, we will be in Providence, Rhode Island. So hopefully you will be at one of those. It's kind of close to Canada, Rhode Island, right? So just drive over that border and come and see me. Okay, so this is a 3-part question. Do we outline the entire book in advance? I would say no. We usually know typically what's gonna happen overall, like beginning, middle, and end. We typically know how it's gonna happen. Like, we know there's gonna be a happily ever after. We know typically that the couple is gonna get together. So what we'll do is we will plot the first 5 to 10 chapters. We'll write those, we'll FaceTime again, plot the next 5 to 10 chapters, write those, FaceTime again, plot the rest of the book. And that's how we've done it for a really long time now. We started plotting pretty hardcore, I think, once we got to about our 3rd or 4th book. We used to write every other chapter. So like, she would write a chapter, I would write a chapter, and we'd go through the entire book that way. But now it's more like, hey, we're gonna plot these 10 chapters. You've got these 5, we've got a time jump, and then there's 5 more. You write these 5 and I'll write these 5. And so we're both writing at the same exact time. Whenever we're finished with those chapters, then we switch. We'll make additions to each other's chapters, fix things that are just kind of weird to us, and then we'll move on. But as far as plotting, I can't say that we've plotted out an entire book. Like, we know chapters 1 through 30, what's gonna happen. It's usually plotted out in chunks. The next question was, how do we choose which book will be next? Typically, we write in series, so we know how the series is going to go. So with This Is War, we knew This Is Love was coming next, and we knew we were gonna do a spin-off of Courtney's book. It was kind of like with Logan and Kayla's book. Brooke really wanted to write it, and I was like, I really don't want to write any more Checkmate duet books, so y'all that wanted that book, you're welcome. That was all her. Trust me, it was not me. We usually know, like right now it is July 26th of 2018, and we know all what we're writing next year. We pretty much have the entire year broken down with what's gonna happen when our release dates are. The reason behind this is we talk about it a lot. Like, we know what we wanna write in the future as we're writing this. Like, for example, whenever we were writing our 3rd book, we knew about the Bishop brothers. We knew that we were gonna write this series. We knew that each brother was gonna get their books. Even though we were 3 books from doing that, we knew that that was gonna happen. And so here we are now, and we're writing the Bishop brothers, and we are planning another duet series next year. So we know that there's gonna be about 4 books in that series, which it's gonna be so good, guys. But we know that, and we know that we have chosen to do the bedtime series, which was originally published under our individual names, but now it's under Kennedy Fox. We knew that there was gonna be 3 or 4 books in that series, and we actually have audiobook contracts with that, so we have to finish that pretty much as soon as possible. So we've got our Bishop brothers. We're gonna go ahead and get those out because we promised our readers that. Then we've got bedtime read series, which we have contracts for that for audiobooks, so we know that we need to get those out. And then we can start fresh, which with a brand new set of characters, a brand new world, a brand new series. And then after that, we have a few standalones that we want to write. And basically, we're just kind of going into our own personal bank of books that we have wanted to write. And we're like, hey, I've always wanted to write this book. Let's go ahead and write it together. And considering we've both been in the industry since around 2013, 2014 time period. There's so many books that neither one of us have been able to write that's just kind of in our idea bank. And so we'll talk about it. She throws an idea and she's like, hey, I've got this idea. This is what we should write. And if I like it, I'm like, dude, let's add that to our list. Let's go ahead and write that. And that's typically how it happens. So we have 2019 completely booked. We know what's going to release. There could be 6 books. There could possibly be 7 books released next year. We won't know that until we get further into the year as far as where we are with our writing deadlines. The next question was, do the ideas come from both of you? And I would say yes. Typically, Brooke is like pitching all these ideas to me, and like we just kind of build off of each other. Like we have a foundation of what the story is going to be about, and then we're like, hey, what if this happened, or what if this happened, or what if we did this here, what if we did that there? And that usually happens whenever we're trying to plot the book. Now if something changes and we're like, hey, I had this great idea that this should happen in this scene, it might switch around our plot just a tiny bit, then we'll talk about it and we'll go ahead and do that to make sure that we can still stay on track with what our final goal is with the book. But I would say for the most part that the ideas come from both of us. I can't say like Brooke has 100% of the ideas and I just write what she says. I wouldn't say that it's like that. I think it's more of a partnership and we're just kind of like bouncing things back and forth all the time. This question actually came from the AuthorTubers Facebook group. If you are an author out there and you need a community, I would definitely recommend the #AuthorTubers group on Facebook. There's a lot of people in there and they share their videos every week. This question is more of a tell me something. And so it says, tell me something you're proud of about your writing. We writers like to beat ourselves up a lot, so what are your strengths? And I would say that one of my main strengths is I am uber focused. Like I can sit down for 10 hours straight and I can just write. I can tune everything out, and I can just write. I'm very highly motivated to complete stuff on time. Like if we have a deadline, we are making that deadline. That is me working 24 hours a day, every day on the weekend, and not going to sleep until 4 a.m. and waking up to go to work at 7. That's what has to be done. And I think that's one of my major strengths, that I can actually start a project and finish it whenever it's supposed to be finished. I actually missed another part of this question. It said, would you ever do a video featuring the both of you talking about me and Brooke? And we're actually going to be together in September for the Romancing Masterminds conference, and we're going to be together in October. And though she is an introvert, we are trying to plan some videos together to post them for everybody, with us kind of being together, because a lot of people see us separately online. We are one entity as Kennedy Fox, but a lot of people see us separately. So we do have some stuff planned in the future. We're actually working on that right now of what we're gonna do. And if y'all have any ideas, or like maybe a how well do you know your writing partner Q&A, we might do something like that. We're still planning it, but yes, that is in the works at the moment. Next question is, do you have a long-term goal plan? Example, you want to quit your job within X number of years. As most of you know, I work a full-time corporate job at a top 10 Fortune 500 company, and I write full-time and I do a lot of travel, and there are days at my job where I am not allowed to take off. Like my boss will basically not allow it. I'll be denied vacation. So there's a lot of times when signings are the first 10 business days, it's really hard for me to get off for that. And I just don't want to be on anybody's schedule. I want to wake up when I want to wake up. I want to be able to write all day long. I want to be able to wear leggings or workout clothes or whatever I want, go around pantsless if I want to. And that is my ultimate goal. Like a lot of people say that they will feel like they have made it as an author once they make New York Times. For me, I care about New York Times, but that's not at the top of my list. My number one goal is to be my own boss and for writing to be my job. It's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I want to do until the day that I die. Like that is the dream goal, is to do exactly this, to write. And I hope that it happens next year. Like, that would be so freaking amazing, but it's gonna happen when it happens. I'm not gonna rush it. I'm not gonna force it. I do have some slight health issues. I've got kidney disease and I need insurance. And as most of you know, insurance is expensive. So until I know that I can afford to pay for health insurance and I pay down some of my debt, I'm not gonna quit my job. But like I said, dream goal is next year. Like, the day that it happens, I will be vlogging. Just know, you will all be with me. I will definitely wake up in the morning just one day and be like, today is the day that I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna go into work and I'm gonna vlog the entire experience. And I know that it will happen. Like, I have zero doubts that it will happen. It's just a matter of when it will happen. And I'm super impatient because I have been writing and I have been working full time ever since I started writing. So we're talking about since 2011, guys. So from 2011 to 2018, for 7 years straight, I have written and I have worked full time. So yeah, that is my actual number one goal. And I hope that it happens in 2019 for me. I'm banking on it. I really want it to happen. The next question is, are you still doing keto? If so, how are you liking it? If not, why not? So, am I still doing keto? I would say the answer to that is a big no. And the reason why I am not doing keto anymore is because I feel like the diet mindset for me is not good. It's not healthy for me because I have an all or nothing mentality, and I could probably make an entire video as to why I am not going to diet. In the last year, I've lost 95 pounds, and that was before keto. Keto is great, and it's great for a lot of people, and it was great for me. I felt great doing it. I did it for 6 weeks. I lost 15 pounds, but there's a part of me that says, can I do this forever? Can I literally do keto for the rest of my life? And keto is one of those diets that is an all or nothing type of diet. And I have an all or nothing type of personality, mentality when it comes to dieting. And my thing was, oh, I accidentally messed up, screw this, or I would just beat myself up about it. And it wasn't healthy. I'm under enough stress already that I don't need that. I do, for the most part, eat low carb and I watch what I eat, but I also do CrossFit and I'm burning between 800 and 950 calories every single day that I go work out. And so I just don't, I don't know, I gave up keto. I'm a keto quitter. And that's fine. It's a great thing if you want to lose some weight quick, if you need something that's more structured. But for me, I was doing fine before I started that. And now that I am no longer doing it, I'm still doing fine. I know some people may say, oh, well, did you gain all of your 15 pounds back? No, I didn't gain the 15 pounds back that I had lost doing keto. And that's because I have not really changed my way of eating. I'm just not focused on high fat. I might have some wheat crackers. You know, I'm eating more balanced and that works for me. And so I'm just gonna keep doing what works because it's so much less stress. Next question. How do you decide who gets to write the sexy time scenes, or do you write those together? I hate writing sex scenes. I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those wham bam, can I please write this in 1,000 words and be done with it. I started writing young adult, so I just, typically Brooke is writing them. This is how you can tell. We share them, but if it is a very long sex scene, long, 3,000 words, Brooke wrote it. If it's more like 1,500 to 2,000 words, and there's a lot of comparison to things like being in the galaxy or being out of your body or like waves and all that, I pretty much wrote them. But we do share them. She's definitely written more of them than I have, but I can't say that she's written all of them. Next question. This comes from Facebook, and it says, how do you manage the marketing side of being an author? I freaking love your vlogs. You're the sole reason I'm now addicted to my digital bullet journal. Aww. Okay, so the marketing side of being an author, we used to do everything ourselves as far as Kennedy Fox. We created our own Instagram InstaFam team. We sent out packets, we did HTML, we did our website, we did everything on our own. I do have a writing partner who takes care of a lot of the marketing stuff. I was basically the behind the scenes chick that made all of the teasers, kept the website updated, newsletters, stuff of that nature. Now that we have a PR team that's working with us, shout out to Inkslingers PR. Danielle, you are awesome. We have a lot of help with those things that would slow us down. So our goal is to focus on writing books and to kind of outsource. We still do our own Facebook ads. We still do our own AMS ads. So the way that I would handle marketing whenever I was writing alone is I would basically still outsource a lot of the stuff. So whenever I would have a release, I would hire a company to do my blog tour and to send out my advanced review copies and to do all of that type of stuff. I still did my own website. I still did my own Facebook ads. And I think it's just about scheduling that time and making a plan as far as what you're going to do for the week. That's very helpful. Facebook posts. What I would do is I would schedule my Facebook posts on Sunday for the entire week. Now that Instagram, there's little apps that you can do that. You can schedule all of your Instagram posts. I try to reply back to everyone who comments on my stuff on Instagram. I try to reply back to people's messages if I'm tagged in stuff. And it's just literally making time to do it. Like I said, I do have a full-time job. I do have a writing partner that I'm very grateful to have because she gets to write full-time. She gets to stay home and do what she loves every single day. So she has a little bit more time than I have. So she's taken over kind of like the Kennedy Fox marketing. And I'm like the behind the scene girl that's doing all this other stuff. It's easy to do. You just have to kind of make a plan and decide what you're gonna do. It's just kind of keeping in tune with the market and what everybody else is doing and what works for you and your brand and what you have time to do. Just because Sally Sue is over there doing all this stuff doesn't mean you have to. What works for one person doesn't work for another person. Yeah, websites are important. Being on Facebook, maybe Twitter, Instagram, those things are important, and schedule everything. It's super easy. Just schedule it, let it be there, be active, reply to people, be yourself, and don't do marketing drive-by. There's a lot of desperate people out there that just go in people's Facebook groups and just spam them with like images and teasers and stuff, and it doesn't work. Like, I've been saying this since 2012. Drive-by marketing doesn't work. Nobody cares if you just randomly post a link to your book and a teaser in 500 groups. Nobody cares. They're used to seeing that spam in there and nobody's looking. So you have to build actual relationships with people and you have to be yourself online and think outside the box. I think that's kind of what works. You know, whenever we started from nothing. We didn't use our past history with our individual names to build Kennedy Fox. We wanted a fresh foundation. So everything that name has been done from the ground up as a new author in 2016. And now it's 2018. And yeah, it's a little bit harder. And yes, we kind of had an advantage because we had been publishing for a few years, but we still didn't have contacts. And the way to get that is to be yourself online. But as far as marketing, everybody has to do it these days. Self-published authors, traditional published authors, everybody has to market themselves. Find out what your brand is. Stick to your brand. Find your niche. Stick to your niche. I could just go on with little marketing nuggets all night long, so I'm gonna stop. Next question. With what you know now, what would you go back to your just starting author self and tell them to do differently? Oh man, I'm seriously gonna make full videos on some of these questions. To my past self, I would probably say to understand that branding with your covers is very important and to stick to one genre and do that one genre really well. As a new author, I had published 2 books in a series, and instead of publishing the 3rd one, getting it out there, I did a spin-off that was a dark suspense novel. I wouldn't even say it was really romance, and I had basically written contemporary erotica romance, and so it kind of threw off my brand a bit, and though people liked it, they really enjoyed reading it, I feel like I had done myself a disservice. Also, I think it's important to brand your covers. Like, hire a professional. I did hire a professional, but my covers, they just weren't where they needed to be. They were great. They were great covers for back in the day, but there was not a brand where people could look at a cover and go, oh yeah, that's a Lyra Parish book. A lot of the mistakes that I made as Lyra, luckily we had gone through those growing pains already, me and Brooke, and so we didn't make those mistakes with Kennedy. So figure out what your logo is, figure out what your brand is, and stick with it and push through. I wish I wouldn't have waited so long to publish some books. I wish I would have just written the series out and finished it instead of basically just picking ideas from my just grasping. I felt like I didn't have a solid plan, and that of course I was new, so I really didn't know what I was doing, and there was a lot of struggling, and my teasers were horrible. Like, I wish I would have hired somebody to make my teasers, because if we could go back and look at them, oh god, they're so terrible. Thank goodness I know how to use Photoshop now, because back in the day, girl, they were horrible. The next question also comes from Facebook. It says, what is the most difficult part of the writing process for you? I would say the first 30,000 words. People laugh when I say that, but I feel like the first 30,000 words for us as Kennedy Fox writing, and even when I would write alone, the first 30,000 words would be the hardest thing for me to write. And I think that's because I didn't really know the characters, and it just made it very, very difficult to get a grasp on how they were, what they liked, how they would react to certain situations. And so when you first start, the character's not fully developed, but once you're, for us, at least at the 30,000 mark, like, you know that character, you know exactly how they're gonna be. And I feel like a lot of the times that first 30 is just a struggle. The good news is with keeping him, we know the character, so we have blown past 30,000 words, no problem, and we're just writing our little hearts out. I think that's the only book that this has happened with, which is nice to just be like, I know this character, we've known him for 6 books, maybe not 6, maybe more like 5, but it's just a really great feeling. The first 30,000 words, they make me want to just punch myself in the face every single book. All these questions came from Jenny Rose with Bookish Aromas. I am gonna rapid fire these questions, and we're gonna do it as quick as possible. So let's do this. What has been your favorite place you visited for a book signing? Boston. Where do you want to go one day for a book signing? Overseas, Australia, or Europe? Do you collect anything? Sarcasm. What's your favorite book you've written as Lyra Parish? Week for him, and I was very super overly proud and overjoyed that I had actually accomplished what I wanted to. Which one is your favorite one you've written as Kennedy Fox? If I had to overall pick, it would be This Is War, because that was the beginning and that's what started it all. What's your go-to snack when you're writing? I don't snack, but I do drink a lot of coffee. Current favorite movie? Ever After with Drew Barrymore. Current favorite book? Anything Harry Potter. Favorite thing about journaling? I can make lists and check them off, and now that I've been digital bullet journaling, I will put a link up here or up here in one of these spots. It has been absolutely amazing because I don't have to bring stickers with me, and I can bring my journal with me anywhere I go. What book got you into the book world? I don't really think there was a book. It was just a story about someone who was self-publishing, and I was like, I want to do that one day. When did you decide that you wanted to be an author? I was hiking Louisiana, Hodges Garden State Park. It's no longer there. I was reading a historical marker about this chestnut tree that was drove in by train to Louisiana, and when I left that place, I looked at my husband and I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a book. And he said, what? You're not a writer? And I said, I know, it's crazy, but I'm gonna do it. Here we are. And there we go, everyone. That's all I have today for this Q&A. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all learned a little bit more about me. Real quick, if you have any other questions that for some reason I didn't answer, just post them below. I do try to reply back to everyone who comments on my channel. And remember, if you like my content, please subscribe, please like, please leave a comment. It helps YouTube know that I am not publishing crap over here. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching again. I am going to get back to writing, and I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.